What is going on, Call of Duty fans? Welcome to episode 3 of Around the CDL. I'm Jake. I got Alex and Preston here with me. And today we have a fun episode. We're going to recap some big things from week 2, PickEms, MVP. We're going to rank all 12 teams, and then we're going to answer some of your community questions. So, boys, how are we doing today?
Good, man. Good. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm doing great, honestly. Doing really great after this weekend, actually.
I'm sure you guys are
Happy to
feeling
be back
good.
here. Oh, really extravagant right now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, that's the first thing I have on the itinerary. OpTic is looking really good. So I want to hear from you two first. How are you guys feeling about your team?
Good, Alex.
I mean, what can I say? I'm confident in the boys. I was always confident in the boys. But the way we came out this weekend, honestly, our HP looks insane. Like, our hard point is top notch. I know against Seattle on Skid Row, we went down pretty much. I think it was like 170 to like 92, and then we made that crazy comeback. But I mean, our HP is just insane. S&D as well. We didn't go to round 11. We won both S&Ds against the Ravens and Surge pretty comfortably. I believe it was 6-2, 6-3, if I'm not mistaken. Against Seattle, we lost to control 3-1. Kind of choked that round. That was it round 3, where Seattle was on offense and we kind of just got all 4 dead and they just stacked the point. But I mean, against the Ravens, we won 3-0. So I mean, I feel honestly great about OpTic right now. I feel like our S&D improvements that Dashy and JP were talking about in some tweets and on streams is really showing through. I think, like I said, our HP, like we're kind of final in HP right now. Control, pretty solid in control in my opinion. But yeah, overall, I'm feeling great about OpTic right now. We did amazing this weekend.
I think that no matter the OpTic team, in the back of my head, I'm kind of always expecting them to be really, really good at hardpoint. Just because the talent that is typically on OpTic and the players that OpTic pick up to play for them. But it felt like, at least in recent times, that the biggest playmaker we've had has been Shotzi. You kind of know what you're going to get out of Dashy. He's always going to be consistent. He's always going to do what he needs to do. But it's almost felt like in at least the past 10 to 12 months that if Shotzi's underperforming, we're going to have a hard time beating some solid teams.
Mm-hmm.
With this team, it feels like all 4 of these players can take over whenever they want. It doesn't feel like pressure needs to be put on Shotzi. All 4 of these players know what they need to do. They all play their role perfectly. Yesterday, 2 days ago on Friday, we saw Shotzi struggle against Seattle. Today, he was frying. Kenny has been absolutely unbelievable for us. AG is looking like a top MVP candidate, and you're getting the same Dashy that you've gotten for X amount of years. I mean, he's just Mr. Consistent. Now this is very early, and I'm very excited because they looked really well. But if this is a team that stays at this consistent of a level the entire season, they're going to be very good, and they're going to be very hard to beat. And I will be a very happy OpTic fan. So I'm not going to get too excited, but right now I have nothing but positive things to say, and I haven't seen a bad thing. I mean, we lost match 1, and even then I was excited because we were neck and neck with another one of the best teams in the game. So I have nothing but positive things to say, really.
Yeah, it's actually, and from like a non-biased perspective, as a non-OpTic fan, they look so good. I mean, especially in Respawn, but I mean, if you look at their SNDs in the last 2 series, they look night and day better than they did in the first few they played. Interesting stat from Breaking Point's website. So right now, Kenny actually leads the team in engagements per 10 minutes. So he's actually playing the fastest pace, which is, well, I mean, I guess, pace and engagements aren't necessarily the same. It could just depend on what routes he's taking. But like, he's getting in the most engagements out of the whole team, which is very surprising for a guy like Kenny. And he's also leading the team in damage as well overall in the season. I mean, this dude has, for me, looked like the best player on OpTic, like the MVP of the team so far, which is literally the exact opposite as I thought it would be. I figured he would be more sitting in the back, soaking up hill time, giving out comms, leading the team, and like dropping a 1.0 type of KD. But There's something about the way he's playing that's just transforming this team because he's playing so well.
Yeah, I think.
He's literally, sorry, Alex. He is
No, go ahead.
literally filling the perfect role gap that they have needed for a long time. He is taking off a ton of the pressure on the map off Brandon's shoulders. Brandon can do literally whatever he wants to do. And him setting pace like that, like you said, is only going to greater benefit Shotzi and Pred with their subs. If he can keep up with a similar pace and pressure that those two can put on the map, I mean, these guys are gonna just be insane.
Yeah, I mean, like Jake, like how you said, like he leads OpTic in damage, and that just makes it so much easier for everyone else just to get those kills because he's making everyone one shot. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just making it so much easier for them to literally do, as Preston said, whatever they want on the map. And I know we talk about, or there was a lot of hate for Kenny coming into the offseason. I won't lie, I was one of those people that was like 50-50 on how like I thought Kenny was gonna do, but he's proving me wrong, and he's proving a lot of people wrong right now on how he's playing. He's playing absolutely out of his mind. He's definitely the most impactful player on OpTic right now, and just like whatever he does, on Skid Row, how we always say he's the first person to P2 like 99% of the time. And that's what helps OpTic on Skid Row specifically get out to those big leads is because just he's literally as soon as P1 breaks, he's not even thinking about P1. He's going straight to P2. Um, but yeah, I mean, Kenny's just insane, honestly, right now. He's playing at an insane level.
I was
I
actually.
think it's also
Oh, sorry, you go.
no, okay. I think it's also important to note that not only is he doing all these damage, he's getting all these kills, all these engagements, but he's also doing the fundamentals. The amount of hill time that he's had, the amount of rotations that I've seen him be the first guy soaking. He's cutting down lanes, so we have early rotation. The play that he made on against Seattle to break P5 and literally get us what could have been a Seattle full 60 turn into an OpTic full 60. This guy is just playing absolutely fundamental COD. He's playing the game the correct way. And I mean, if you're not taking my word for it because I'm nobody, listen, just go and watch an Octane stream for 10 minutes and listen to everything that Sam has to say about how Kenny's playing the game right now. The guy's playing perfect COD. He's really playing perfect COD.
Oh, and shout out to Kenny. Apparently, he watched our second episode of this show, as Preston saw on stream. So big shout out to Kenny. If he's listening to this, bro, huge shout out to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, OpTic's looking crazy. We'll talk more about them as we go through, our PickEms and where we rank our teams. But let's talk a little bit about Surge. Obviously, Surge was the hot team coming out of week 1. I mean, they were like the team everyone was like, oh my God, Seattle looks incredible. They went 0-2 this week. Obviously, they played, maybe the top 2 teams in the game in FaZe and OpTic, which were not easy series to win. But how did you guys feel about like their performances against these teams?
I mean, I'll be honest, against FaZe, it could have very easily been a 3-0. That was my score prediction at the beginning. It could have way easily been a 3-0. I think it was like 4-1 at one point on Search and Destroy, and FaZe ripped off 3 straight, and it was 4-4. And then Seattle just clutched up the last 2 rounds, but it could have easily been 3-0. I mean, they won, or FaZe won 3-1 in the control. They beat them in the first hard point, 250 to 184. They lost 6-4 on the S&D. I think it could have easily been a 3-0, and not to mention, no one on Seattle went positive that series. I know against OpTic, Illy was the only one that went positive that series. I think just Illy had a little bit more to prove in that series against OpTic, but I don't know. It to me, it's like a complete 180 turnaround. I still have confidence that they'll finish out with a good enough record. As you said, Jake, OpTic and FaZe probably 1 and 2 right now in most people's power rankings. So I don't, it's not a surprise to me that they lost both. Um, it's not a surprise to me that they lost both 3-1. I don't doubt if they would have lost both 3-0. But yeah, I don't think it's surprising to me. It's just I think it's just the draw of the luck. You play the 2 best teams the second week, and that's just how it happens. I don't think it's anything surprising. But I'm not like too down on them where I'm overreacting and saying Seattle isn't top 6 anymore. I think They just play the two best teams. That's just what happens. But I'm confident that they'll be able to pull out some wins the next few weeks.
It's a tough schedule, right? I mean, you can only expect so much going into a weekend playing OpTic and FaZe.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I kind of expected them to maybe play a little bit better. I don't think they played bad. I thought a lot of the maps versus OpTic were kind of close. Um, and I didn't get to watch the hard point against FaZe, but they won the S&D, and I think that might be the only map that was necessarily close. But what I will say in a positive manner is they won two different game modes against two really good teams, right? So they beat OpTic in a control, which is promising. They beat FaZe in an S&D, which, given FaZe's history in S&D, is really promising. So if they can maybe clean up the hard point, maybe figure out some rotation issues or what went wrong. I know, like, on Map 4 Terminal versus OpTic, like, Abuza rotated with, like, 50 seconds and it
Yeah.
flipped spawns, and we just, like, broke playing for free. I mean, at that point, you're kind of making a Hail Mary play to kind of just chain hills together. Somebody has to make a big play. But little things like that if you hold those 30 seconds and maybe just play for a pretty quick break rather than rotating at 50 seconds and losing Old Hill, I mean, they might get closer in hard points. And if they start winning some tight hard points, they can maybe go longer in series. And I mean, who knows what happens at that point. I don't think that I won't bash on them too much because I still think they look really, really solid and a lot better than I actually thought that they would probably look. But right now, if I said like maybe last weekend they were like a top 4 looking team, I'd say maybe 5, 6. So nothing crazy. They still look solid. But 0-2 is a little depressing after starting off so nice.
Yeah, I think for me, like coming into this season, one of the things that I didn't think Seattle was going to be a good slaying team. When you look at the people on their team, I can't speak much on Abuza. He's a rookie. I don't really know much about him. But when you look at Illy, Hook, Arcides, you don't think like these guys are big slayers when you think about what they've done in the past. And when you're going up against a team like OpTic, who has Pred, Dashy, you're going up against a team like FaZe, which has Simp, Abizi. It's going to be hard to beat those teams when you're not much slayers, unless you have one or two guys on your team playing above what you typically would get from that person, like playing just like well above the expectation, kind of like how Illy has been playing to start the season. But it's going to be really hard for them to beat a team like OpTic, FaZe, New York, Toronto, when they don't have the best or the biggest slayers on their team. Now, of course, it can change. Illy might be the top 3 player this entire season. I guess we can't know that for sure. But in any Call of Duty game, kills is the most important thing. Gets you map control. It, makes you win games. And when you don't have a big time slayer, it's gonna be hard to compete with these top teams. And I think that for me is what looks like the biggest struggle for them.
Yeah. Like you said, if you're liking a team that has like that super high slaying caliber, that one slayer that's just ability is through the roof, you have to have pristine fundamentals, right? Like the fundamentals in your game have to be dang near flawless to beat a solid team like that. I didn't see that in either matches. I think if they tighten up in some fundamentals, they make the right play. I'm not saying to be absolutely perfect. You don't have to make the right play every single time. It's not going to happen. But if you just tighten up on some fundamentals, some here and there plays that probably should have went that way, if we can eliminate some of those, they're going to be good. I mean, they're going to be a good team. Abusa has looked solid. Illy has been kind of looking like prime Illy. And I mean, you kind of at this point you know what you're getting out of Alec and him. So I think they're gonna be solid for the year. I do. I think they're gonna have a mid seed and good for them.
Definitely. It'll be exciting to see how they play at Major 1, because I think they can make winners bracket and make some upsets there for sure. But speaking of upsets, we'll touch on this quickly. Boston Breach upsetting Toronto Ultra. Now, Preston called it on the last episode. If you watched it, he didn't say 3-0, to be fair. No one expected that, but it just, upset isn't even the right term because they literally like wiped the floor with them. Obviously, the maps weren't like crazy. Like, it wasn't like they like 250. They didn't like 100-point club them, that type of thing. But it was very decisive from the Boston Breach side of things, which is unexpected being as they were 0-3.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing about this game was the fact that Envoy had really bad game.
He had a
He had
.48.
31. Yeah, he had 31 kills, which is something that you're rarely going to see. Like even Scrap, even though he went negative by one, like you never really see that. But honestly, I'm not looking too much into it. Boston. Like I feel like you're gonna have those upsets here and now, especially at the beginning of the season, when teams are still learning things and things are still fresh. But I'm still confident in Toronto. I mean, it was shocking. I mean, they won the S&D pretty handily, 6-3. They won a control 3-0.
The 3-0,
Uh,
yeah.
so I mean, in a way, it was shocking because it's like, oh, like you don't expect this, especially after Breach just got 3-0'd by LA Thieves, and then the LA Thieves got 3-0'd by LAG. So, I mean, it's just not something that you expect, but I mean, how they always say COD is like a everyday thing. You may rip someone the one day, and then the next day you may get ripped. So, it's just one of those things. But I don't expect another series like this from Toronto at all.
I don't want Boston to get discredited for this match because Envoy played really, really bad. I feel like that's how a lot of people are looking at it right now. And although that is the case, and we will probably never see another series from like that from Envoy this year or ever again, to be honest. Um, Boston played really good COD today. They looked like their teamwork was really, really good. I saw a lot of double chows. I didn't see a lot of individual solo chows. They put them in men down situations. I didn't see anything going crazy, anyone going insane. Everyone was just playing solid COD. We saw New York Priesta yesterday, or I mean today from last year. We saw a Rookie of the Year candidate Snoopy who was absolutely destroying today. He was frying,
Got a
and I mean
1.39.
that's insane. Like that's insane against a team like that. I mean you're shooting against Scrap, you're shooting against Dylan and Kleenex, and I mean even Insight, who isn't really like the slay heavy kind of guy. He's playing fundamentals. He shot really well today, and Snoopy was still putting up good numbers. Like Boston looked good today. This is the Boston that I think a majority of people kind of expected to see coming into the season. Then they start 0-3, and everyone starts to get a little like lose a little hope. Like, oh, did we overrate these guys? Are these guys really not as good as we thought? No, this is the Boston that we expected. Are they going to go out and slam everybody every time they play them? Absolutely not. But this is a little taste of the Boston that we kind of want to see for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think this is like they're like we clearly after this game we know that they can play like this every game if they really put themselves to it. Ash Preston said Snoopy, who's my pick for Rookie of the Year, got the 1.39, but Priesta also played out of his mind as well. He got a 1.23, so it's like I think if Snoopy and Priesta play this way, with Cap and Slasher being like that backup support role, I think Boston's going to do really well and do really good. And clearly we see that they can play at a level where they can beat a team like Toronto, who is arguably a top three team, top four team. So I think if they can clean some things up and get to this level, I think Boston's really going to surprise a lot of people.
Yeah, they were actually the first team to beat a top 4 team so far this season. Like a non-top 4 team to beat a top 4 team. So shout out Boston. This is what I expected on paper coming into the season as a team that was looked at as like maybe the 5th best on paper. This is what I expected out of them to play this well, and I just hope they keep it up. I hope when they come back from the break, it's this good again, because this team's fun to watch with Snoopy and Capsule playing like that.
Yeah, we should also give Capstone his flowers, man. He played really well today. And a lot of those maps, Snoop was using a third AR. He was kind of the solo SMG, and he was still putting up heavy damage. So Cap deserves his flowers today, too. He played really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last team for us to talk about, Miami Heretics. Obviously, they only played one match this weekend. They did win it, of course. They continue to impress. So are we on the Miami train for good, or are we thinking there's still a little bit more need to see?
Well, even though they played two series, they played Vegas and they played against.
Oh, you're right.
Walker. Even though Vegas is 1-3, Rocker's 0-3, they're shooting. I mean, I'm just going flat out saying those boys are shooting. I mean, they won 3-1 against Vegas. They won 3-1 against Rocker. they're taking our Vamos. If I'm being honest, each and every one of us, like those boys are shooting medals against Legion had a 1.4 or something like that, and then against Rocker, I think he had like a 1.7. So, and he also had 104 kills
That was the
within.
first 20k damage I think we've seen so far.
Yeah, and I mean they only played 4 games. I don't. I mean, given game 5 is an S&D, so who knows how many people or how many kills a player can get. But I don't doubt if he would have went for the kill record that it's. I don't know if he's tied with Nero right now or if Nero hasn't beat, but yeah, those boys were shooting. So I got to give them props.
Their teamwork is godlike, man.
I think it's
Their
the best.
teamwork is godlike. I was gassing up OpTic's teamwork and how they were doing, and FaZe always has good teamwork. But their teamwork's godlike, man. They are working together so well. And everybody is shooting. The only one that hasn't really like taken over per se has been Vickle. But even he is doing exactly what we kind of saw from him last year. He's shooting too. These guys might be good, man. They might. They're starting to take my Vamos too. I said last week I wasn't sure if they would take my Vamos quite yet, and I wasn't putting a lot of faith in them. But they might have me jumping on the train a little bit. Now, Alex did say they played Rocker and they played Vegas, who right now are two struggling teams. But that doesn't. Good teams beat the teams that they should beat, and these guys are 3-0. So I'm taking no credit away from them. So you can only beat the teams that you play. You're not the ones that make your own schedule. So these guys are 3-0, and I hope they keep going. So good for them, man.
3-0 with a 9-2 map count as well.
That's insane.
Now, give it. Some of those maps were a little close. Control against Rocker was 3-2. I mean, it's still 9-2 map count, still 3-0. As President said, if you're a good team, you're gonna beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. I mistakenly said that Meadows had a 1.7 against Rocker. He got a 1.21. But even then, I know Journey. I think in the sub base HP, he had like the first 40 or the most. Was it the most kills? 40.
He put up 40. Yeah.
I don't know if it was the most kills, but yeah, them boys, they're shooting right now, and I mean, like how I said, they haven't played the best teams. They played Ravens the first game, then Vegas, then Rocker. I know they play OpTic. I'm pretty sure not next week, but whenever we bring matches back. So I think once they play OpTic, that's going to be a true test to how good they are. But I mean, they're fine. I mean, I can't say anything else. I don't want to discredit them. They're looking good right now.
They are 3-0, and their remaining 4 matches in order are Seattle, Boston, OpTic, LAG. So realistically, they should probably have minimum one more win out of those 4, and a real test will be if we see them play a now solid-looking Boston, a always have been looking solid Seattle, and obviously OpTic. So if they come out of this 4-game stretch coming out for them with 2 wins, they're feeling really, really good.
I mean, even if they come out with 1, they would end 4-3, which should probably be winner's bracket at the major. And I mean, that's a great way to start your season. Winner's bracket at a major, you get some momentum going for the rest of the season. So even if they drop 3 of the remaining 4 matches, I think they could still make winners.
I'm actually pretty certain they already locked in winner's bracket. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, wow.
Doug League posted a stats thing on Twitter today that said 3 teams have already guaranteed themselves winner. It's Miami, OpTic, and FaZe have already guaranteed themselves winner bracket or something like that. So
wow.
Yeah, it was. Oh, it says chances of starting in winners bracket for Major 1. Atlanta is 100%. NYSL is 100%. Miami is 100%, and so is Texas.
there you go.
Shout out those people.
Yeah. So I mean, anything could happen, but yeah, they're looking really solid right now.
Absolutely. All right, let's recap our week 2 pick'ems. It was a good week, honestly. We all did pretty good. I got 8 correct. Preston got 8 correct, and Alex got 7 correct. So we're shooting well above where I think we should have been to start the season. Interesting. We're all 15 correct, 6 wrong to start the season, all 3 of us. So
Wow.
we have the same correct to wrong record. And then
I blame Ultra.
yeah, ultra
Big
chalked up my
chalk.
pick'em at the end there.
I'm good with Ultra. Shout out you guys.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So we're on some good track right now for our pick'ems, I will say. But before we get into week 3 pick'ems, which week 3 is 3 weeks away, let's talk about week 2 MVP. If you had to pick one, obviously I'm sure there's plenty we can name for, honorable mentions and stuff like that for MVP. But what are you guys thinking? Who's the first person that comes to mind?
Honestly, in my opinion, and we just talked about him, Kenny. Kenny is playing out of his mind right now. I mean, I could keep going on and on, but we pretty much just covered it at the beginning when we were talking about OpTic. But he's filling the role that we needed him to fill to an absolute T. Like, I don't think we could have. I generally don't think he can play any better than what he is right now. Like, he's absolutely frying in every single category. Hill time, getting the kills that he needs to get, getting the important kills, playing fundamentally, doing what he needs to do, getting us in good spots. In my opinion, Kenny is my week 2 MVP.
I think bias or not, I think I have to go AG Pred, man. I mean, this guy is just putting up insane numbers right now. Insane numbers. Was almost like triple positive in control today. I'm pretty sure I saw a stat, and I mean, this could be wrong, but I think I saw a stat where he had more kills in the control than 2 people on Carolina did the entire series.
Oh
Like,
God.
I think like 2 Carolina people, I don't know which one. I'm assuming it was like Goddard X and maybe like Real or something. I think they had 23 and 26 kills respectively, and AG had 27
Yeah,
in the
you're right.
control by himself. That's insane. That guy is putting up insane numbers. And I mean, he is just frying. Every time I see in the kill feed, he's putting up 2. This guy is just playing some good COD. And although Kenny is like more of like he's very, very valuable in terms of stats, I think I'm gonna go AG.
Those are both great picks. I feel like you could pick anyone on OpTic for the most part, especially those 2 would probably be the 2 I'd go for. To be a little bit different, I'm gonna go medals, I think, on Heretics. I mean, they won 2 series. He obviously played out of his mind. Like the numbers he was putting up and the amount of slaying he's doing is just really, really crazy. And we literally just talked about Heretics, so I'm not gonna go too much into detail, but I'll go medals week 2 MVP.
I think just a little honorable mention I would like to throw in there if OpTic didn't play as good as they did this week. I would go Diamond Con, who's also been playing some really, really good Call
He's
of
been really
Duty.
good.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out Diamond Con, probably a really big reason that LAG kind of looks really solid right now. So that would be my honorable mention. Obviously, Meadows is great, but I'd also say Diamond Con.
All right, I like it. I like that we didn't have to just pick simp like we did last week, which is good. This is what I want to see.
Well, he also fried this week, but he only played once, right? He
Yeah,
only
if
played once.
they played 2 and they won 2, I might have been looking at him again, but
Yeah, me too.
but yeah, let's talk about our pick'ems for next week, and then we'll get into ranking teams, answering some community questions. Let me swap this camera on over. And obviously, and by next week I mean 3 weeks from now, right? This is January 12th that these matches are. But let's talk about them anyway, because I doubt we see a team change. But if we do, we can always re-talk about these before they happen. But starting it off, speaking of Atlanta FaZe, we have FaZe versus LA Gorillas. I'm good. I'm definitely thinking FaZe. Gorillas look good, but I'm gonna go FaZe 3-1 on this one.
I'm in that same boat with you. I don't know. I can see them getting 2 games, but I just think FaZe is hands down the best team right now. And I don't think it'll be a cakewalk for them. I think the matches are going to be close, but I'm thinking FaZe 3-1.
FaZe are kind of different gravy, right? But LAG has looked good, and they looked really good against New York. So I'm gonna give LAG 2 maps. I do think FaZe win a map 5, but I don't just want to go in there like my gut would say, like go FaZe 3-0. But I kind of want to give LAG the benefit of the doubt, give them a couple maps.
Yeah, and after a long break, I mean, obviously teams will be scrimming and stuff once they come back from holiday, but after a break, you never know what could happen. FaZe
Right.
might have a bad day. Maybe one of them's a little sick from going home and seeing family and friends and stuff. You catch a little bug. Anything's possible for any of these teams to come back into this new week. But we're all going FaZe either way, so what's the difference, right? Next up, great series: Toronto Ultra versus Seattle Surge. You guys thinking Surge bounced back against the Toronto team that just got crapped on today, or what are we thinking?
No, I'm taking Toronto 3-1. Yes, Toronto got slammed today. But how I said, I think it's a one-time thing. I think they'll come back a lot better. They'll fix what they need to fix. But yeah, I don't see Toronto losing 2 in a row, honestly. So I'm going them 3-1.
I mean, that's a brutal 3-game stretch for Seattle, by the way. OpTic FaZe, Toronto, 3 games in a row.
They play Miami the next day too, so
Yeah, brutal for Seattle. Okay. I don't want to do this, but I'm going to. I'm going to say Toronto 3-0. Toronto got smoked today, right? They got smoked. I don't
Mhm.
see Scrappy losing his next series after getting absolutely demolished, especially over a 3-week break. Seattle's probably feeling a little deflated right now. That might play a little bit into it. Usually if you're feeling deflated, you can always look forward to the next match. But your next match is against the Ultra, so I don't really know how much positivity there is right there. So I just think this is going to be slammage from Toronto, if I'm being honest.
it definitely could be. Part of me wants to go 3-2 Toronto just because Surge might come back a little bit, hot and ready to make some waves, but I think I'm going to go 3-1. Toronto just, I feel like just matches up in every way. They're probably better for the most part. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. And then last series of that day is the Subliners versus the Minnesota Rocker. I'm going to go 3-0 Subliners. Probably not a surprise. Maybe Rocker can steal a map, especially if like Vivid pops off, but I'm going 3-0.
Yeah, I'm on that boat with you. I'm going 3-0 as well.
I am also going 3-0.
I don't think it's gonna be close.
It's definitely not the best matchup for Minnesota. I mean, obviously they look pretty bad, but the Subliners look pretty good. So, all right, we can slide over to Saturday. Seattle Surge versus Miami Heretics. This is a big map or a big match because this is 2 teams we're probably looking at in that top 6 realm. Yeah, what are you guys thinking about this one?
I
This
think
one's
I'm
hard,
gonna.
man.
I think I'm gonna ride the Vamos wave. One more week. I'm going Miami 3-2. I think it's gonna go to game 5. But I think Miami squeaks it out. I think all maps are gonna be really close. But I think Miami squeaks it out 3-2.
I said last week that I was a little hesitant taking Miami. And that did not pay off because I should have. I'm not making that mistake again, man. These guys look insane. I'm going Miami. Now, I am going to go map 5. I'd love to see Miami just go in there and just show everybody that they're actually here to play and that they just go in there and take over. But I think I have a little too much faith in Seattle for that to happen. So I'll go map 5, Miami. Close series, but I think they've been playing too good to vote against them, man. I do.
Yeah, part of me wants to go Surge just because it's a close map. These are two of the better teams outside the top 4. But it all comes down to something I mentioned earlier, which I think is just slaying numbers. Unless Seattle comes out and well exceeds what we expect from them, Illy drops a 1.8 again, or who comes out and drops a 1.3. The Heretics team has been slaying. I mean, their entire team. Vickle obviously has been a little bit less than the rest of the team, but the entire team has just been slaying. And I think when it comes down to it, they kind of I think they're going to give them the work. I'm going to go 3-1. I keep saying 3-1, but I'm going to go 3-1. All right, then this is a very interesting matchup. LAG versus Boston Breach. 2 teams that both bounced back in their series today. Who knows what to expect. These teams have both not looked great at times and looked really good at other times. I'm going LAG 3-2, I think. I think I'm gonna ride the LAG train for a little bit here and see how they work out.
I don't know. Honestly, I genuinely do not know. Um, I think you know what. I think I'm on the same boat with you, Jake. I'm going LAG 3-2. They just, in my opinion, they've looked better. I mean, they took NYSL to game 5. They just dusted LA Thieves, but I mean they always dust LA Thieves, unfortunately, for some reason. But yeah, I just think they look a little bit better than what Breach have shown us. So I'm going LAG 3-2.
I thought maybe you guys would go Boston and I could take LAG.
You look like the genius when they went.
But for that reason, I'm gonna go Boston. I'll go Boston in a map 5. I go back-to-back 3-2s. Rough week if that happens for LAG to lose 2 game 5s, but they've showed some promise. I just think that now with their first win on the board and a slasher-led team, I could see them riding some momentum here. I mean, we saw it in Vanguard with that LAG team where they literally just rode momentum for an entire major win. So,
yeah.
I mean, this really could be anyone's game, to be honest. This is like a super toss-up, like the silence that we just heard with Alex and I thinking, I think speaks multitudes. But I'll go Boston, map 5.
This is one of those series where I hope it's a close battle, but one of these teams might come out and smoke the other if it's, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I mean, Breach just smoked Ultra and LAG just smoked LAT. So who knows who's going to hit their stride that day.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of LAT and Ultra, both the teams that got smoked by the teams playing right before them. We got Thieves versus Ultra. Listen, I love the boys on LAT. I think they're in for a good season. It's just a tough first start. I'm going Ultra 3-1. I think 3-1 is what I'm gonna go with.
I'm going Ultra 3-0. I think it'll be a slammage. Unfortunately, I don't know. Just the Thieves and Boston are the two weird teams to me that I can't read just quite yet.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Thieves just beat Boston 3-0, or this weekend, I think on Friday. And then Boston goes out and whoops on Toronto 3-0. But then Thieves just lose to LAG 3-0. So they're the two teams that I can't read at all. But, I just think Toronto's going to come out and outslay them. So yeah, for that reason, I'm going Toronto 3-0.
Yeah, Toronto plays Seattle the day before, so nice little practice heading up into LAT the day after. I really don't see a world in which Ultra loses. I would love for LAT to win this. I just can't see it happening. I will give LAT a map just because I'm not really sold that they're as bad as they've been playing. I do think that they're better than they've been showing. So I'll give them a map, but I do think that Ultra's just gonna come in off of a big win the day prior, if my pick'em is right, and just control the series for the most part. I'll go 3-1 Ultra.
All right. It saddens me that we all picked Ultra over Thieves, but I totally understand. All right. Vegas versus OpTic, last match of the day on Saturday. I think this could be a sneaky one. Vegas has looked somewhat good in Search and Destroy. They looked really good and then choked. And obviously OpTic, lost 3 round 11s to start. So maybe Vegas can take the game 2, give themselves some momentum. But I'm going to go OpTic 3-0 either way, I think. I think they look incredible in every game mode, and Vegas kind of looks iffy in every game mode.
Yeah, I'm on that boat with you. I'm going to a nice DoorDash shine. I'm actually time this one too. I'm gonna time it and see how long it takes for us to get this 3-0.
That was absolutely funny to me. I thought you were maybe going like a map 5 or even a Vegas win. All that build up.
I think it's possible, but I'm not feeling it.
I'm going 3-0. Attached loves playing OpTic. I don't think he'll love playing OpTic this year. I don't think he'll love playing. This is a new OpTic, so I I do not see this team losing to Vegas, especially with the lack of consistency and the lack of ice that we've seen from them. I mean, we said earlier Miami's 9-2 map count. 2 of those map wins are catastrophic breakdowns from Vegas. It has to be said. So, I just see I see a 3-0 OpTic here.
Yeah. I mean, they have a rough game next game as well.
Yes.
Against FaZe.
So that's what I was going to say is Vegas has the
Oh.
same treatment as we saw Ravens have this week. Ravens went up against Ultra last game Saturday, kind of got worked. Next day, first matchup against OpTic. This time we got Vegas against OpTic and then against FaZe back to back. So I kind of think it's going to be the same way it happened to Ravens. I think they get 3-0'd by FaZe.
Agreed. I mean, they played subliners this week, and Legion did. So that's a rough 3-game stretch for you to go NYSL, OpTic, FaZe. But yeah, I'm going to FaZe 3-0.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an 06 map count for the Vegas boys over the weekend. I don't see them beating FaZe in a map the same way I don't see them beating OpTic in a map. So until they can show me something differently, I would be a fool to think otherwise. I'll go FaZe 3-0.
All right. So if Legion win these series, it's gonna look bad on us because we all just had them getting wiped.
Oh, we're gonna get clowned.
If Legion win this series, I will literally be stunned. I mean, they have shown us absolutely nothing and have given us zero reason to fathomably think that they can win either one of these series. Either one of these series.
It looked nice their first series when they they beat Rocker. I think they beat Rocker. But ever since then, it's just been downhill. Like back-to-back breakdowns. They broke down against Ravens when they got reverse swept, and then ever since then, it's just been catastrophic for them.
They went 5 games with Rocker. I mean, Rocker's only gone 5 games with one team, and it's Vegas. So, I mean,
I'm just saying. That's a good point.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, speaking of Rocker, possibly the Blow It Up Bowl in the next series of Ravens versus Rocker. Two teams.
Battle of mid.
Not even mid, bro. I don't even know if we can say that.
It's just a straight up toilet.
These teams have mid potential, I would say, but they're not playing like it. So, what are we thinking? Close series? Someone's gonna get swept.
I don't even know.
You know what the series is?
What is
this is one of those series where you hope it's over in 3-0, and it's the longest 5-game series ever. And you're just wanting it to be over, and it goes all 5 games, maybe 2 round 11s, 3-2 in control. I mean, you could flip a coin. I mean, I do think that besides today, and even yesterday, I guess, Carolina has looked better to me than Minnesota has. So I'll go 3-2 Carolina, but I really don't care. It could be 3-0 Minnesota. It could be 3-0 Carolina. I mean, at this point, we have nothing on either one of them for the fact that they both suck right now. So, whatever. Toilet Bowl, congratulations, Carolina. Toilet Bowl champs.
Yeah, I think I trust Clay a little more to get his team back online. Got RX, got Kentucky Fried today.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going Carolina 32 as well.
Yeah, my brain is thinking Carolina's definitely looked more promising. Obviously, they have a win, but I'm gonna go Rocker. I think if there's a chance for them to get their first win of the season, I think this is a good opportunity for them. The Ravens don't play on Friday or Saturday, so they have an even longer break than everyone else because they have the 3 weeks plus 2 extra days. So maybe they're a little cold. Maybe they're getting wiped in scrims by some other teams warming people up or something like that. I don't know. I think 3-2 Rocker. Maybe they can just edge out Ravens, get their first win of the season. It's more a hopeful pick for them, for the sake of the team.
Yeah. I genuinely think that if they have a long break and they come back and Carolina loses their first match to a very struggling Rocker, not only is Clay going to lose it, but this team is done. I mean, there's no way they stick. They'll probably stick to the end of the major, and then make a roster change, but there's just no way that team sticks. You don't get blown out the way you did in back-to-back days, come in and lose to a team that's looked as abysmal as Rocker has, and you work through it. You just can't. At that point,
Yeah.
it's done, and it's early in the season, and that might be a little rough, but it is what it is. Spade is a spade. This is more of a must-win for me for Carolina than it is for Rocker, to be honest. Because Rocker, they haven't found any footing yet. Carolina has found a little footing, and it's just fallen off a cliff in the last 24 hours. So I'm going to just maybe give Rocker a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt and say if they start to find their footing, maybe they'll click a little bit. But for me, this is a must-win match for Carolina, or it is done. I think they are done.
Yeah, I mean, even with Rocker playing a game on Friday, they play subliners, which I don't think is going to look pretty for them.
They're not even going to have a
At
chance to
all.
warm up in that series.
Yeah, like it's going to be dunzo. But, Carolina took a map off of Ultra. The maps today with us, they weren't that close. They didn't look that close. But yeah, I think Carolina will, like I said, I think Clay will shake up his troops and get them in order.
I hope so. I like Clay. I would like to see Ravens win this one for sure. But next series, LA Thieves versus the New York Subliners. Probably a pretty big favorite in this series, but I'll let you guys go first.
I'm going Subliners 3-0. Yeah, I think it's
Damn.
going to be a rough weekend.
Oh, my bad,
rough.
Jake.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jake. I love you, but it's going to be a rough weekend for them. I'm going 3-0. I was debating about giving them a map, but I don't know. I just how I said, this team is so confusing to me. I can't read them. I can't get a grip of what they're good at. So for that, I hope they show me something. I truly hope this is a series where I'm wrong, and they show us some life either against Subliners or against Ultra. But for right now, I'm going 3-0 Subliners.
Every single part of me thinks that I should go New York. I mean, there's not an ounce of me that genuinely believes that I should go anything but the Subliners here. For that reason, I'm taking Thieves in a Game 5. I like a spicy pick per weekend. This is my spicy pick. I just think that, New York is a team where at times they get a little comfortable and they have an off series. We saw it last week where they almost choked a series against LAG. Pretty bad. They probably should have lost. We've said it 100 times. But, we need to reiterate the fact that they probably should have lost that series to LAG. I think there's sometimes just a little comfort series where out of all the top teams, they're the one that kind of plays down to their opponents the most, I feel. I just feel good about this LET pick. I don't know what it is. I really shouldn't at all, but I just think maybe the Thieves just kind of fight one through here. I do think they're going to be in losers, but it's double points, and I'm going risky. I'm going Thieves, Game 5.
I like it. I like the confidence. I like the feels. I mean, listen, I know NYSL's probably going to win this series, but I'm thinking Thieves too. I'm going Thieves 3-2. Everything you just said about NYSL is what I was going to say. They look the shakiest of the top 4 teams, obviously. I mean, Ultra did just lose today, but they definitely look shaky at different times throughout the season so far. LAT is a team that I think it looks top 5 one day and then looks bottom 2 the next day. I don't know. I'm feeling like an Afro masterclass maybe here, going kind of crazy. I think our ceiling is high, but our floor is low. But I'm gonna go with Thieves 3-2 for this matchup. This will be where Alex pulls away in our pick'ems, but it'll be okay.
Oh God, I don't know. It depends if they get warmed up that day, because let's not forget, Subliners was blacklisted because they were snaking a little bit for warm ups. So.
Oh, I also do want to add, I saw on Twitter that Zuma gave Capitol a yellow card for snaking during their last series. So Boston
I
might
did it.
no.
I need to go back and rewatch it now.
Boston might not get a warm up against LAG in that match on Saturday.
Is
Oh.
it red card though? You said yellow.
It was a yellow card gift, so maybe it is
Alright,
just a warning, no
Light little
penalty,
warning.
but
Okay.
I guess we'll see.
I think Ben might have given him a red card.
Oh, it's
So-
over. It's
Oh
over.
no, then
So
warm
I
up.
think we may see. I don't know. We may
We'll see. We'll see. All right, last series for week 3: Miami Heretics versus Boston Breach. I'll start it off. I think this is where Miami takes their first loss of the season. I think Breach go 3-2 here. I think Miami looks like a great team. The teamwork's there, the slaying's there, but Boston has shown they have that potential to slay. Snoopy and Capital have looked crazy, and Priest also showed today what he can still do. I think eventually Miami's got to lose, right? And I'm gonna give Boston the benefit of the doubt and think they take them down.
I'm with you. I'm going Boston, but I'm gonna go 3-1.
Oh wow!
I think the hype will die down a little bit. At that point, you're they'll be 4-0 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Starting to maybe hit a stride, and I just think that I just really like this Boston team, and I'm trying to give them as much benefit of the doubt as possible. I said last week I thought they could come in after starting 0-3 and upset Toronto, and I think they'll just kind of ride that through the next couple matches. I really like a slasher-led team. Against all odds, I like a slasher-led team. And from what we've seen from the young guys, I mean, there's no reason to kind of doubt them. So, Heretics Vamos has been slightly halted in. If they win, I'm only ever going to doubt them again versus OpTic. You have my vote. I swear. I will pick them against FaZe, Toronto, New York for the rest of the year. I'm never going to pick them against OpTic. But if they come in there and slam Boston, you have my word.
Yeah, I'm on that same boat with you. I'm going Boston 3-1.
Wow, I'm surprised that all three of us just did that.
I mean, just kind of like how you said, I think they have a very rough series against Surge. They doubt themselves just a little bit, just enough for Breach to get the lead on them and then just pull away. But honestly, I don't doubt if Miami does just come in here and slam Breach. But as Preston said, I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt. So like I said, I'm going Boston 3-1.
I like it. We got some spicy picks in there. We definitely have some picks where we went against probably what's looked like as the favorite on paper. So we'll see how we end up doing with this. It's definitely going to be interesting. All right. Next up, we are going to power rank the teams. We're on tierlistmaker.com, but we are actually ranking the teams. We have 1 and 2, 3 and 4 all the way down in their own tiers, just so it fits on the screen. And we'll start at the bottom, of course, with number 12 and number 11. What are you guys thinking for the worst 2 teams? And then, of course, we'll average this out, or we'll take the consensus for each spot.
I think, to me, it's obviously it's your guys' opinions too, but to me, the clear number 12 team right now is Minnesota.
I agree as well.
Okay, so that's clear number 12. And I think for 11, it's going to be between Vegas and Carolina. I don't know which one we want to go with. Personally, I think Vegas has maybe shown just a little more than Carolina for me to squeak them into the 10 versus the 11, especially after the last 2 matches we saw from Carolina. So I think I would go Vegas 10 and Carolina 11, but obviously you guys have to give your opinion too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think I don't just want to go based off this weekend because they both lost. But just Ravens, I think the way they lost was a little worse. I mean, even though Vegas did get 3-0 as well by NYSL, I just think it was a rough stretch. Playing Toronto and then OpTic. I just think it's Rocker right now is in the 11th spot.
Ravens, you mean?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Ravens,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I agree with you guys. To be fair, Ravens did reverse sweep Legion, but I still do think that over the course of the few matches both teams have played, Legion have showed more. I think, Nero and Attach have both looked pretty good so far. Gwyn has really been the only one that's showed a lot for Ravens, in my opinion. Clay's looked okay as well. But yeah, I think we go Minnesota 12, Ravens 11, and then I'm guessing Legion 10. Is that what we're all thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, to me.
Well, okay. Well, who do we have at number 9? And then we can see if we'd put them like Legion above them or not. Personally, for me, I'm
I think
thinking
it'd be Thieves.
you're thinking Thieves.
Yeah.
Jake,
Oof.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
No,
I'm so
I
sorry.
mean, you're probably right.
Jake, I'm so sorry, but I think in 9 right now, I mean, I probably would have gone LEG, but LEG just smoke showed them today.
They did.
So
They
it
did.
would not be it wouldn't be right for me to put LAT above LAG after what we saw today. So I think it's only fair to put LAT in that 9 spot right now.
Well, the consensus vote is going to win here either way. Honestly, I was probably going to put LAG 9 and Thieves 8, but you are right. They did just absolutely. I mean, they swept us. It wasn't even close. So no, you are correct. Non-biasedly, I agree. LA Thieves 9.
I want to get y'all's thoughts on Thieves 10, Vegas 9.
Oh, you think so? I mean, what? Both teams are 1 and 3, right?
Yeah.
Both teams are 1 and 3. Vegas have a 6 and 11 map count, and Thieves have a 4 and 9 map count. So technically speaking, Vegas does have a better map win percentage. That
I don't know. I'm not saying anything. I just want to get your thoughts on that. Get your perspective.
I don't think I'm buying into it, to be honest. I'm not good. These haven't looked great, but 3 of Vegas map wins are against Rocker. So, I mean,
True.
I don't know. They've played what? 3 or 4 series. How many series have they played?
they both played 4.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they've played 4 series, and half of their wins were in one series. Half of their map wins were in one series. That tells me all you need to really know. Also, LAT just beat a Boston team who just destroyed Ultra. So, in terms of upside and in terms of, I guess, what they've shown me, although it's not by much, I think I'll still put LAT in the 9 and Vegas in the 10.
Fair.
But you definitely have an argument. It's not like it's just blown out of proportion. You have a valid argument to make.
Yeah, I think you can switch 9 and 10 with Vegas and Thieves, honestly. But I think right now, Rocker, Ravens, Vegas, Thieves.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I think, and it pains me. I think if I'm being completely unbiased, putting fandom aside, I might actually put Thieves at 10 and Vegas at 9. Thieves have 4 map wins, 3 of which came in their sweep against Surge. So that means they have 1 map win in the other 3 series they've played. I would say Attach and Nero have looked better than the entire Thieves roster so far throughout the season. The Thieves literally have been pretty much just like either all 4 do good or all 4 do bad in their first 4 series. I think, we could totally switch them if I'm going to be completely unbiased about it. So, Alex, you're the deciding vote, essentially. Even though I'm the Thieves fan, I actually am.
Oh, God.
I think
no,
they
don't leave
actually
it up
might
to
deserve
me.
to be chucked back.
Ah, God.
It is also good to say, though, Thieves win comes against Boston, and Vegas comes against Rocker, and obviously Boston is a better team than Rocker. Yeah. And Thieves did sweep Boston. So maybe I'm talking myself out of it a little bit.
I think because of that, not just because of kind of mainly because of this weekend, the fact that they just beat Boston and Boston just beat Ultra. Again, we know it could just have been a fluke, caught as a day-to-day thing, yada yada yada. But I think just based off this weekend, I think we're good with leaving Thieves at 9 and Vegas at 10.
I think I actually think without that Dan 1v3 in the round 5 in the S&D, Boston wins that series. I do. The tides were shifting entirely in Boston's favor. They lost the map 1 hardpoint, and they won 4 straight S&D rounds to start the map 2, and we're like, okay, we have a series. And then Dan just literally
them apart one by one,
1v3s,
yeah.
picks them apart, and they didn't win a series. They didn't win a round of S&D after that, and then they got smoked in the control. So it just felt like at that point Boston was deflated. But that's a testament to the Thieves' resilience, I think. 6 rounds in a row in S&D should never go unnoticed.
It was almost a full sale. They were 1 round away from it being a full sale.
They were 1 round away from a full sale. That is insanely tippable. I just think right now, even though they are close, and it just pains me to say that they're close, I think Thieves have a slight edge in the power rankings.
Yeah. All right. I think we're all in agreement now. 7 and 8. See, this is where I think it starts to get interesting, right? You're looking at teams like LAG, Boston, maybe even Surge. Who are we thinking at number 8?
I think I'm going Boston. Yes, they just whooped on Ultra, but I just think LAG at 7, with what they've shown me, makes a little more sense to me, in my opinion. Again, Boston at 8 and Gorillas at 7.
I think I'm gonna go LAG at 8, only because Boston is 1 and 3, but that was a super winnable series number 1 against FaZe, and they did just smoke Ultra. 2 top teams. They played really well. Could have been 2 wins. Ultimately, is 1 win, but I think I don't know if I'm gonna see that from LAG. I don't know if I'm gonna see a close series against a top team from LAG. I mean, they did just take New York to Game 5. What am I saying?
Yeah, it did almost be New York.
I don't know. I like the LAG hype. I'm happy that they're performing way better than people have given the hopes for. I just personally think right now that I have to, in the power rankings, I would have to go Boston above LAG. I would put LAG at 8 and Boston at 7.
I think I'm with you on
you,
that.
Jake.
Yeah, I think I'm with Preston on this one. I think Boston's 3-0 versus Ultra is definitely better than LAG's 3-0 versus Thieves, especially considering we have Thieves at 9. We're probably going to have Ultra top 4, but we'll see. I do think it's very close. They both have 6 map wins. Boston does have 9 map losses, though. LAG has 6 losses. So win percentage-wise, LAG is actually considerably ahead. But I think Boston's 3-0 today versus Ultra just puts them in 7 for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. We move into 5 and 6. Now, I think it's probably between Miami and Surge. I don't know if any of you guys think the top 4 has shifted with Ultra's loss. Maybe you think maybe one of these teams is ahead of them. What are we feeling?
Nah, I think.
All right.
Yeah,
So we're
think
all on the same boat
top
with
4
the
is
2 teams.
still,
Yeah.
Top 4 is still the same. 5 and 6. I'm going. Never mind. Someone else go.
Yeah, I'll go. I'm going Seattle 6, Miami 5. I feel like that's the only fair way to go, to be honest. Miami is undefeated. They haven't really played any superstars yet, per se, but they're undefeated regardless. They've looked, in my opinion, overall the better team than Surge has. Surge has looked very solid, but I just think Miami right now looks a little more polished than Surge does, and I think they're more than deserving of that 5 spot. Honestly, I would put them higher on the list if I've seen them play a upper epsilon team. I haven't seen it yet. If they go in the next couple of weeks and beat a top 4 team, these guys are for sure solidified. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind. But I think for me, I'm gonna go Surge 6, Miami 5.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. I think Miami, obviously undefeated right now. Surge 1 loss. I think it's close, but also Miami, I think, is just their players have looked incredible. All of them for the most part. So I think I would go Miami 5, Surge 6 as well.
I agree. I was a little bit torn on this one. Surge, they looked really, really good that first weekend, and then of course they just lost 2. To be fair, it is against, again, Atlanta and OpTic, so you could take that how you want, but I think just the fact that Miami yes, it's been against Ravens, Rocker, and Vegas. I just think they've just looked a lot more polished in a way.
Mhm.
So I'm going Seattle 6, Miami 5.
Sweet.
This is where it gets spicy.
This is where it gets spicy. 3 and 4, right? Obviously, OpTic has lost a match. Ultra has lost a match. FaZe and Thieves. I wish FaZe and Subliners are undefeated. Who wants to go first?
I can go.
Let's hear it.
I'm gonna go Ultra 4, OpTic 3. I right now think that the top 4 are the clear top 4, and those 4 teams will be competing continuously and confidently for tournaments all the time. I think we're gonna see them be the final 4 teams on a Sunday, barring like a super tough bracket side here and there, which happens all the time. But Ultra got smoked today. They are the only team in the top 4 that has been smoked in a series. It wasn't close.
By a team that's also not in the top 4 at
Mhm.
that.
Yes, true. By a team that we have ranked, what, 7th?
7.
We have
Yeah,
them?
we have
Right.
7.
They got smoked. It was not close. So I think it's only right to have them in the power ranking 4 slot. In terms of OpTic, I would put them higher, but it's not fair to me, even though it was a Game 5 Round 11, for me to put OpTic above the team that beat them in the Game 5 Round 11. I think that would be an injustice to New York. So I just think, even though, to me, OpTic and New York kind of are dead even right now. I think they are like dead even in terms of their team and their slaying ability and everything, fundamentals, everything. I just think it would be an injustice for me to put OpTic over New York, and I'm trying to be super unbiased. So, OpTic 3, Ultra 4 for me.
You know, I'm on that same boat with you, person. Don't get me wrong. I love OpTic, and yes, I will be biased sometimes. But right now, Toronto 4, definitely. I mean, we can't over. Yes, it may be a one-off thing, but we still can't overlook the fact that they just got smoked by Breach, who you said we have at 7. So they're at 4. Texas, OpTic at 3. I mean, it's true. You know, we did go round 11 with New York. Um, but at the end of the day, they still beat us. We didn't beat them. Now, that's not to say that if we were to play, let's say tomorrow, it'd be the same outcome. I think the outcome would be a little bit different with how OpTic is playing right now. But just because they do have our number right now, they did beat us. I think I'm having OpTic at 3, and Toronto at 4.
All right. I mean, I'm going to be honest. I would have put Subliners at 3. I know they beat OpTic. I would have Ultra at 4, Subliners at 3 in my opinion. I just think Subliners, they beat OpTic by one
Don't make me
round.
change, Jake.
They beat
Don't
OpTic.
make me
Change my.
change.
They
Don't make me
change my mind.
change, Jake.
listen. They beat OpTic by one round, right? Which of course that's a win either way. It doesn't matter how many rounds it was. They beat OpTic by 1. They almost lost. They should have lost 5 maps to an LAG team. And OpTic honestly looked almost invincible in their series this weekend. They looked really, really good in every single game mode. So I understand like what you guys have and what I have on the screen right now. I think is the fairest assessment. But I don't know. I think I'd have OpTic above them personally. But hey, unless you guys want to change your minds, I think we can keep it.
No, I think I have to stay my ground here. Personally, because if I put them at 3, then if they exceed my expectations, what I'm expecting them to do, I feel a lot better about myself. So I'll put them at 3 right now. Although like I said, I mean, you could kind of flip a coin for me right now with New York and OpTic. I mean, to me it really doesn't matter. But I'll keep them in a 3. You could be the deciding factor, Alex, if you want to change your mind.
What's a map count for both Subliners and OpTic?
It is just had it up. It is 11 and 5 for OpTic and 9 and 4 for Subliners. So Subliners have a 0.4% higher map win count. So they're basically even when it comes to percentage.
In your defense, Alex, OpTic's like what, 6 and 1 in hardpoint or something like that, the highest in the league.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said before, there's some validity to the argument. I mean, it's not like we're just blowing smoke, and it's not. I'm not being biased in saying that I could see them in second. I could see them in second. I'm gonna keep them at third, but I want to see what what Alex does.
Damn, I don't even know. I mean, because the arguments are there for both. As Jake said, yes, we took them to around 11, but ever since then, OpTic has been lights out in all the games that they've played. New York, yes, they beat LAG, but it went to round 5. As Preston said, we could have definitely seen Face. LAG could have 3-0'd and subliners that day if they would have clutched up a little bit more uh, and played the way that they played against probably LA Thieves. I could see us at 2, but right now I'm sticking for 3. I'm sticking with OpTic at 3. As Preston said, I think it'll feel better to know that we're at 3, and if we overexceed, then we overexceed. I'd rather not under succeed. But again, I think if they were to play right now again, OpTic versus New York, I think OpTic would have a better chance. But just because they have that win over us this stretch, I think I'm going with OpTic still at 3.
I respect it. I respected the non-biased OpTic fan. That's what we like to see. All right. That leaves us with 1 and 2. I mean, we already know what we have because we just debated 3. Anything you guys really want to say, pretty much, I guess, about Atlanta FaZe, since we just talked about subliners?
Sure.
No, I mean, pretty much, in my opinion, right now they look like the best team overall in every game mode. But yeah, I mean,
I want to see them against a top team. Right now, they look like the clear dogs to me because they haven't played a top 4 team. New York and OpTic played each other, and Ultra lost to Boston, like we've said. So FaZe is like that one kind of team right now that we haven't really seen play a contender or another top team. So they're gonna by default just have my 1 spot because they've just looked the most dominant because of who they've played. But as I said previously, they can't help their schedule. Right now they've looked dominant. The good teams are gonna beat the teams that they play. So I mean, for that reason, FaZe is in my 1, and I have New York in my 2. But that might change, might not. They might go in and smoke whoever they play first in the top 4. I don't really know who it is. Is it OpTic?
I think it might be us. Last game.
Wait. They only wait, whoa. Hold on. Wait a sec.
That
Wait a
means one of
minute.
the other majors is going to be harder. One of the other
Wait.
qualifiers.
You're
Yeah,
telling me they don't
so
play a top 4 until the last match and it's us? That's unbelievable. What a
they
cupcake
play
schedule.
Gorillas, Legion, in order. They play Gorillas, Legion, uh, uh, Ravens, and then we're the last game. Wait, what kind of cupcake schedule is that?
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, they're 1. Let's not take away from anything from them. They've looked insane, but that is an insane cupcake schedule to start the years. Good lord.
Something I will say, if OpTic had that schedule, I ain't gonna lie, people would be,
Oh, they'd
oh,
be cooking
OpTic
them.
has
Oh,
the
they
yeah,
played
OpTic has the
nobody.
Discrediting,
cupcake
yeah.
schedule,
Yeah.
this and that. But I'm gonna give FaZe their flowers. They are number 1 right now.
Yeah, me too. I'm in that same boat. You can't help the schedule.
Yeah. All right. Hey, this is our tier list. I say we revisit our tier list. This is our power rankings. I say we revisit this as we head into Major 1. So probably after week 4, we see what we have. I think that'll be a good time to revisit this. But this is what we're looking at. Let me switch the camera right back on over to our faces here. And let's end it off with some community questions. Still have a bunch of questions stocked up from last week. I think there's some great questions we could go over here, and we'll just see where it takes us. Let's start it off with this question here from Warren Smith on Twitter. They asked, which AR player is looking like they'll be the best AR this year so far? I think there's plenty of options, but what are you guys thinking?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of options. Skies is definitely one of them. Shout out to Skies because he's been putting on for New York lately. He's been absolutely frying in every game that they've played so far. I know Dashy had a rough first match against NYSL, but ever since then he's literally been lights out. Against Ravens, he had a 1.84. Against Surge, he had like a 1.3 or something like that. So he's been playing out of his mind as per usual. That's what we expect out of Dashy. Cell's still in that conversation with main ARs. Cell's gonna do Cell. He's gonna put up Cell's type numbers. Um, you know, I think those are like top. I don't know who the best main AR right now is. Honestly, I feel like they're all playing at a great level. Uh, but in my opinion, I don't think there's anyone that sticks out a bunch over the rest. I think they're all pretty tied up to at the top, honestly.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, if I had to pick one right now that sticks out as like the main AR of their team, it would be Skies for me. I mean, that guy has been pure domination the entire year. If we're talking AR in general, I think I'm going Kenny. I mean, I have no reason not to go Kenny. The guy's just been playing lights out. But I think right now, just from what I've seen, Skies has just been taking over, genuinely taking over.
Yeah, I think. I mean, at this point, there's basically three to four ARs on every team. I don't even know if you can consider guys like Simp and SMG this season with how much they're using an AR.
Fair.
But to go with what we typically would use, I'd probably lean Skies if we're talking strictly mains. And then I probably agree with you, Preston. If we want to throw flexes in the conversation, I think I would go Kenny as well. I think he's just made so many winning plays, made so many right plays. He's been not only, keeping up pace and being impactful, but also getting kills, putting up KD numbers, hill time. I mean, he's doing everything. So is Skies, but Kenny's playing at a way faster pace. So I think it's between those two.
I mean, I would have expected it to be like Cell, to be honest. I would have expected it to
I
be
mean, and
Cell.
shout out to Cell. He is playing incredible.
But to me, Simp has been doing everything. The last series they played was really the first series where I'm like, okay, there's Cell. Cell is he's back. He's Cell. The first two series to me it was all Simp. I mean, it was practically all Simp. So for that reason, I just think Skies has an edge over mains right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Skies is a good shout. I wouldn't be mad at him being number one right now, but again, I just think just the three at the top right now are kind of tied to me, honestly, or like tied for me
Yeah.
for first place.
No, valid.
definitely valid. All right. Next up, we got from Charlie Cod 19 on Twitter as well. He asked, do you think any of this year's rookies will be considered one of the best in the game like Pred and Scrap previously? I don't know if they mean this season or in general, so I guess we can take it both ways. I will start. I'd say this season, I do not think any of these rookies will be considered one of the best in the game. Still early in the year, but maybe Snoopy could be in that conversation, but I don't think so. And then going forwards, of course it's possible that one of these guys like Snoopy ends up being a top 10 type of dude in future seasons. Maybe someone like Gwyn as well, I think has that capability, or a Booza. But right now, I'm just going to say no. I don't think any of them will be considered one of the best.
Yeah, I don't think none of them have shown me the level of play that Pred and Scrap like when they first came into the league, just how dominant they were. I'm not seeing that from any of the rookies. Like Abuza has had his good series, but I feel like I just this season specifically, I don't see anyone being at that level. Again, in the future, things can always happen. Things can change. But I don't know. I don't really see anyone right now.
Your best chance this year of that happening is Snoopy.
Mm-hmm.
I think Snoopy has looked the best. Just because I think he's probably in the best position of all rookies, in my opinion. He's surrounded by great teammates who are world champions. So I think Snoopy's probably your best choice this year if it were to happen. But I genuinely believe I've seen if Gwyn gets placed in a different roster, kind of like a similar situation that Snoopy's in currently. I'm not saying it's thrown into a top 4 roster, but a roster that's solidified by solid players who have won championships. I think he could be one of the best. I mean, that guy is the only bright spot on that team right now. Their team got smoked. Absolutely smoked in absolutely crazy fashion today. DoorDash challenge to the and he managed to go even. And the only reason that hard point was even close is because I think he had like 20 kills or something like that. He had the most kills on his team, and I think the next highest was like 13 maybe. So he was the only one shooting back. I think if he gets thrown in a better position, from what I've seen, he could actually be one of the best. It's hard. It's a very contextual question where based on different outcomes of things happening, my answer would change.
Yeah.
But if I'm taking it in the idea that I can move him into a different roster and put him in different positions to succeed, I think he's my best chance to take over. But in terms of Pred and Scrappy, no, those guys came in and started dominating. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I mean, good shout on Gwen. I mean, he's the only Ravens player that's positive right now. After all their games, he has a 1.8 overall, and everyone else is not positive at all. So good shout on him. But yeah, like the level that Pred and Scrap came in, I don't see anyone right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, we can only take what we've seen through 2 weeks. So we could revisit the conversation a month, 2 months from now. Maybe one of these guys looks insane, and there could also be a new rookie that comes in throughout the season that plays
True.
crazy. But we will wait and see.
You also got to think, like, it's very early. Shotzi came in his rookie year and looked horrible and then ended up winning MVP. So a lot
Very
can
true.
change. A lot can change.
They were calling him Botsy. I remember that. Yes.
Yes.
They still call him that occasionally. Maybe more TikToksy now, but
Yeah.
this is a good question. This one, definitely, I'm going to be interested to see what we say. From Haraja on Twitter, that he asked, if MW3 was 5v5, what player would you add to your favorite team's roster? Obviously, there's very easy answers, so I think we should try to think realistically, because we could just say Simp, Abizi, Hydra, like, of course, Scrap.
Are we? Go ahead. Sorry.
No. So I was just gonna say, let's try to keep it like a little bit realistic.
Are we talking like take it back to Roster Mania where people were free agents and we could sign whichever one was available?
We could. I don't personally remember everyone who was a free agent and who wasn't.
Because like
Envoy, Draza, probably for OpTic, maybe one of those two.
Yeah, I mean, well, go ahead.
Yeah,
you go first.
Just say whatever you're thinking.
Yeah.
No, because I genuinely don't know. Like, if we're going back to Roster Mania and stuff like that, I don't know. I can't see 5v5 on this game. I genuinely can't. But if we had to pick someone, I don't know, maybe Ghosty again. Keep him. Be our hill kitten.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I genuinely don't. I mean, like, it also depends on what type of player. Like, do you want a third SMG? Do you want another AR? Do you want another flex?
Probably a main AR, honestly, with this game.
If we're going on like, my answer was going to be Ghosty. Keep him because I thought he did a lot for the team last year in terms of bringing us immediate success from him joining the roster. So I would have loved to keep him. But if we're going in terms of giving a different answer from Alex, and in terms of we were already planning on getting rid of him off season, my answer would be Sib. Bring Sib over with Pred, the duo from Seattle that is, looked really, really good together. And then just bring in Kenny. And I think that team on paper would be absolutely filthy. Lots of slaying there. Kenny with the fundamentals. That's a tough team to beat.
Actually, I like that show. I'm not gonna lie.
I kind of thought you guys were gonna say Draza, honestly.
I mean, yeah, I would love to have Draza, but I feel like we know that he's on phase now. Like, I feel like,
yeah,
not even thinking about him. He's locked on phase.
Yeah,
kind of broke our heart a little bit, but it worked out. So
he did. I subbed to him and then I unsubbed. I'm not gonna lie.
Man.
I was being a little petty.
Dude, it worked out so well in our favor, dude. Ken looks like him. Ken is him right now, so I'll take it. Shout out Drop.
Yeah, but I actually do like that shout of Sib. It's good that because Sib does add another level of slaying to OpTic, because that's pretty much what he did on Surge along with Pred. Had to pick up some slack. But yeah, that's a good shot, actually. I'm not going to lie. I think either Ghosty or Sib, honestly.
Yeah, those are definitely good. It's tough for LA Thieves to try to think about it because they went the budget route, obviously, this time. So you're not thinking of any stars or anyone of that caliber. You know, I feel like one of the first people I think of thinking about what the team has now is maybe someone like Temp. The team could use a AR player that can slay, and Temp obviously can be that. You know, he wouldn't be a bad, honestly, pickup if Major 1 doesn't go well and we need to make some changes. You bring in an AR that can slay like him. Maybe even do give someone like Gunless a chance back in the league. Thinking about it that way, but I'd probably lean Temp. Knowing how MW3 plays, you'd want to go AR. If I'm not considering that aspect, I would have really liked to see Nero on this team. I just really like Nero. And I think he's been really good this season, honestly, anyway. So maybe he's just a good shot no matter what. But you know, I think Temp and Nero, those are two like somewhat realistic picks that I could go for LA Thieves.
I actually really like the idea, and this is just like, but I really like the idea of Priesta going back to LAT.
That would have been cool too, yeah.
Maybe like swapping like Cammy for Priesta, even if it's just a one-man thing, ideally, just if we're like adding in terms of players like we're doing right now, like Priesta, I think not only sets nice pace, but I mean the slaying ability would also help. So, but I like your Nero shout, man. I still think he's so underrated.
Mm-hmm. He definitely is. He definitely is, and he's been showing it. But Vegas are ass. So, all right, let's end it off on this last one. This one's honestly, this is gonna be tough. And it's early in the season, so that's why I want to do it now. From JJJJJ Ramos 99 on Twitter asked, "Who do you think will be top 5 by the end of the game in order?"
Like top 5 teams or top 5 players?
I don't know if he meant teams or players.
Wow.
I think we do both.
Oh,
teams I definitely think is easier than players.
Easy, yeah.
For me, by the end of the game, I'm going phase 1, Ultra 2, OpTic 3, Subliners 4, LA Thieves 5. Give it to me.
I like that out of you.
Copium, I like
probably more like Miami, or like Boston maybe, but I'm going LA Thieves.
All right. I'll go OpTic, FaZe, New York, Ultra, Boston.
Okay. I like that. I'll go OpTic, FaZe, Toronto, Subliners. I'm going Surge.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we all got different teams at 5. That's good.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think.
I feel like top 4 is gonna you can mix and match them literally anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's how it'll end up.
Yeah, I had Ultra 2, OpTic 3. Honestly, I really think it'd be the other way around. I just predicted a FaZe Ultra Grand Final for champs, so I just felt like I had to put Ultra 2. But yeah, now we can try to talk about top 5 players by the end of the game. Obviously, it's so hard to pick. Maybe I don't know if you guys have 5 off the top of your head, or if you want to start throwing out names, we can build it as we go. I'm thinking Simp 1. I'm thinking Simp 1 personally.
Yeah, I'll match you.
Are we making our own list, or are we just?
Yeah, no. We can make our own list, but I'm trying. There's so many. I mean, there's 48 players in the league. I'm trying to think who I really think could be top 5.
Okay. I'm going Pred 1.
That's valid, but I'm going Simp. I picked him for MVP. I have to stick there, I feel.
That's true. I picked Scrap for MVP, and I didn't just put him 1. So I'll put him 2.
Shit.
I'll put Scrap. No, I'll put Scrap 2.
I'll pick Dashy too because he was my MVP.
I'm gonna go Pred 2.
I wish I was writing this down so I remember what list we had.
I'm going Simp 3. I have to put him. I mean, I kind of messed up the list already. I'm not.
Oh, man, 3. I want to put an OpTic guy in here. The thing is, I don't know if Kenny's going to keep up what he's doing now the entire season. Because it's just hard to believe he would be the best player on the OpTic team, in my opinion, right? When you look at that roster. So I think I'm going to go Pred 3.
Yeah. I'm going Hydra for 3.
Wait, 3 or 4?
He's got him
Oh,
3.
what'd you say? Yeah, 3. No, I have Simp Pred Hydra right now.
Okay. Um, I have Pred, Dashi, Simp. I'll go. I'll go Hydra for 4.
That's probably the right shout, honestly, for 4. I kind of forgot about the subliners players. So
There's just so many
My
it's
bad,
players,
New
bro.
York.
it's so hard, bro. I'm gonna hop on the train. I'm going Hydra 4 as well.
I'm gonna go Scrap 4.
I'm going. I think Cell has to be in the conversation. He's like always in the conversation, so I'm going Cell 5.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I think it's Cell's just he's gonna be there every year, so I'm going Cell 5 as well.
I'm gonna wrap it up with Big Brucey, Dashi in 5.
Nice.
All right, so let's recap it. I had Simp, Scrap, Pred, Hydra, Cell. That was my 5 in order.
I had Pred, Dashi, Simp, Hydra, Cell.
I had Simp, Pred, Hydra, Scrap, Dashi.
Okay.
Honestly, you can't go wrong with any of them.
Oh no,
But
definitely
there's
not.
there's there's so many other lists that you could like. We didn't put Abe in there. We didn't put Shotzi in there. Like we didn't put Skies. We just said he's probably one of the best ARs. Like you literally can go any way with the top 4 teams. I didn't even put Scrap in mine, so you literally can go any way.
That's true. It's nearly impossible if any of us get this right. Like if our list ends up being what Breaking Point publishes at the end of the season, someone getting $10.
That would be insane. That would be insane. If we go 5 for 5, it'd be wild.
I mean, the thing is, I don't know, bro. Maybe someone like Metals ends up being top 5 by the end of the year. Miami might not be a team that's in contention for every single major or win multiple majors, that sort of thing. But that doesn't mean one of their players couldn't be top 5 sort of deal. So who knows? Who really knows? There could be anybody could just pop off the whole season and end up top 5.
For sure.
All right, I think that's a good place to end it off. We covered a lot in this episode. So any final thoughts from you guys as we head into the break? What's on your minds?
Everybody have an absolutely great holiday season. Happy holidays to everybody. Stay safe. Whether you're hanging out with family, just chilling out by yourself, whatever you're doing. Stay safe and have a blessed holiday day for every single one of you. And thank you all for watching. As always, go OpTic.
I agree. I hope everyone has a great holiday season. Hopefully you're spending with family, friends, whatever it is. I hope you have a great one. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Giving us questions, giving us feedback, comments, opinions, whatever it is. I appreciate all the support. And yeah, go OpTic.
Absolutely. Everyone have a great holiday. Thank you to everyone who's watched. Episode 2, I think at this point has doubled the views of episode 1 on YouTube, which is absolutely outstanding support from everybody. So we really, really appreciate it. It's a lot of fun talk COD. So we will be back in a couple weeks probably with the next episode because everyone's going to be taking a nice break. But once again, we appreciate everyone for listening. And we'll see you all in the next episode.